Hey guys, John Rettinger here, and I'm going to walk you through the features of the new iPhone OS 3.0. So today, March 17th, 2009, Apple held a press conference at their campus in Cupertino to go over the new features of iPhone OS 3.0. For those of you keeping track, the iPhone 3G is running 2.0, or a version of 2.0, and the first gen ran iPhone 1.0. So people were really excited about this announcement, whether 3.0 was going to bring a new phone or just bring new features. It ended up just bringing new features, and I want to walk you through each of them individually. So let's get started, and I'll go through these in the order that Apple announced them so you guys can keep track. First thing they said, they're giving out or announcing 1,000 new APIs. For those of you that don't know, an API is an application program interface. Essentially, it lets developers build applications to access new features of the iPhone. So the first instance of these new APIs is they now gave developers access to Google Maps. So programmers can actually embed Google Maps into their applications, which is very cool. Also with full feature functionality, to be able to pinch and zoom in different applications that are using Google Maps. So that was kind of fun. So next, and long overdue, was one of the APIs they announced as well, was they were giving developers access to turn-by-turn directions. So finally, you can turn your iPhone into a bona fide GPS. The only catch is the developers have to bring their own maps to it. They couldn't get licensing, I suppose, from Google to put the maps into there. So look for turn-by-turn directions coming in the very near future. I get lost really easily, I don't always have a GPS with me, so I am very thankful to have this. Next thing, push notification. While this isn't true background running apps like people wanted, Apple claimed that background applications running at once, so more than one going at a time, drained battery too much. So what they did was they established now push notifications. So that does, essentially it's up in a server somewhere, sends information to your application. So if you have, let's say, instant message program open, it doesn't have to be necessarily running, but when you get an instant message, that gets pinged to a server in the sky, and that gets sent right down to your phone, and you get the message that pops up. Actually, is a great way to have applications running without having them actually run, and you get instant notifications, which is actually very cool. So, we're talking about the push notifications. One of the applications they showed off that use this is an ESPN application. So you can actually get in-game scores. You can actually now watch streaming video in the application. So if you're a sports fan like me, and you're out and about and you want to know who won the game, you automatically get an update. So it'll show up right on your phone telling you in-game scores and who won, which is actually really nice. So Apple is also positioning the iPhone and iPod Touch to really be a strong gaming platform, and they announced a lot of gaming-centric features today. So the first one they announced was in-game voice. So imagine playing with a friend, being able to talk to each other, which is actually a very cool feature. And speaking of talking to each other, they also announced peer-to-peer app connectivity. So meaning, if you're playing a game with a friend and your buddy's got the game at home, you can actually connect wirelessly and play against them. It uses Apple's Bonjour system, which I'm not going to get technical with you guys, but essentially it lets you guys link up. You don't have to pair Bluetooth devices or anything. It'll do it all automatically, which is actually really nice. So it seems like Apple is really positioning the iPod and iPhone to be a really strong gaming platform. I think they may give the DS, the new DSi, and possibly the PSP a really big run for its money. They've got a ton of developer support, so definitely look for that. And now they went through a couple developers, they showed some games. Smool, the company who made the Ocarina app, showed a new game. But then they got to the big announcements, the big consumer features. And the first one was cut, copy, and paste. And all I can say is freaking finally. So this cut, copy, and paste is one of 100 of new consumer features that'll be in OS 3.0. Essentially what you do is you'll double tap text and it pulls up kind of a big magnifying glass. You can pinch over to where you want, and as soon as you pinch over, you get a cut, copy, or text bubbles that show up on your screen. Click it and you can go anywhere you want, tap the screen, and you'll be able to paste it right in. And that'll work in mail, it'll work in text, it'll even work on Safari. So that's a long overdue feature, and a feature that a lot of iPhone haters were saying, it definitely needed. So I was happy that it got added here. Second thing they added, and with the copy and paste, the ability to send more than one photo in the mail. So you can actually cut multiple photos and send them right off via mail. It's actually really nice. So one of the other big missing features in the iPhone, one of the things that I've been saying for quite a long time, is Apple has a fantastic landscape keyboard, but you could only use it when you're typing a URL. You can now use that landscape keyboard in all of Apple's key applications. So that means text, mail, again like I mentioned, the internet application Safari, calendar. You can use it anywhere in Apple's native applications, which will be really nice. It's really increase the accuracy of typing. I'm not so good when typing normally on the iPhone keyboard, but I get much better when I have a landscape keyboard, so that'll be very, very nice. And the next big feature that Apple announced, and one that most phones have had for quite some time, but the iPhone seriously didn't, was MMS. That's the ability to send picture and voice messages, similar to the way you send text messages. And as Apple was going through and talking about these new features, a couple of things dawned on me. First, really only a company like Apple can get people excited for features that were available on phones 6-7 years ago, namely MMS and copy and paste. It also made me think, when they were announcing these features, making a big deal about it, kind of how upset I was that we didn't have these to start. The iPhone is such a revolutionary device and really is changing the mobile community and the mobile world. But it had some really big glaring holes, and I think these updates are going to help patch those holes. I don't know if these were kind of in reaction to some of the Palm Pre features, or if Apple had these in the pipeline for a while, but it is nice that competition is driving new features. So the next thing they talked about, in addition to the MMS, was voice memos, which is just as exciting as it sounds. Hit voice memos, record your voice memo, got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, be there at 10. That's it. Nothing terribly exciting. This is my phone in case you can't tell. Next thing they announced was updates to the Stocks application. There now is support for news and landscape mode. So you can get some news and then turn it on its side and get some more landscape information. I use the Stocks app, so it'll be nice to have that, but nothing terribly exciting. So then they got to some more interesting things. So with Software 2.0, they announced search functionality in Contacts. Now with 3.0, they're bringing that same search functionality all across the operating system, which is actually really nice. You'll be able to search in Mail, Calendar, iPod, or Notes. Type in a word, it'll search it all for you, which is actually really handy. So imagine if you get a lot of emails. I use my phone for business a lot, and you're trying to search for an email you have stored from, say, John Smith. You can go ahead and type John Smith. It'll pull up all the messages that have come from him. You can find the one you want without having to scroll through days, weeks, possibly even months of messages. You can now go into your iPod and type in what you're looking for. Let's say you want to listen to Green Day. Type in Green Day, boom, there it is. Nice and easy. So, the search functionality is actually going to be very important to what I'm about to say next. When Apple launched the first generation iPhone, the App Store wasn't there. You really only had one home screen. You had your grid of icons for the built-in applications, and that was it. With 2.0, we got the App Store and kind of new sliding home screens to accommodate your multiple screens of applications. So Apple announced today a new home screen option. It's not a replacement for your home screen that you have now. It's a new option that you can use, and they're calling it Spotlight. Essentially, the Spotlight lives in your list of applications. Essentially, it'll just look like an icon. You click it, it'll pull up this new kind of quick launcher, and you can choose all your applications that you want from right there. It also has all the search functionality built right in, so you can search for anything you want using this new home screen called Spotlight. That actually is very cool, and that has, again, that universal search. They also added a ton of other cool features. Stereo Bluetooth, also known as A2DP, essentially means you can use a Bluetooth speaker and send music right to it, which is something Windows Mobile and Nokia has had for years, and Apple was definitely missing, so that's a nice kind of catch-up feature. So the big question on everybody's mind is, when is 3.0 going to be available? Well, the good news is, if you're a developer, it'll be available today. If you're not a developer, like most of you and I are not, it'll be available this summer. It'll be a free upgrade to iPhone 3G owners. It'll be a $9.95 upgrade for Touch 2G owners. So something to keep in mind. If you have an original iPhone, you will be able to upgrade, but you're not going to get the MMS and stereo Bluetooth features, unfortunately. But at least you'll get the improved, I assume, stability and the other cool things that come with 3.0. Now, maybe this is going to come preloaded on a new iPhone. Apple didn't announce any sort of new hardware, but this summer you will be able to get OS 3.0. So guys, in conclusion, I'm really happy that Apple announced these new features. They were much needed in the ways of just catching up to the competition. They're so far and ahead beyond in certain ways, like touchscreen technology and ease of use and intuitiveness, but they were far behind in some of the key features, namely MMS and cut, copy, and paste. And that really has been rectified right now. So the big holes that were in the iPhone platform have now been filled. And I guess now the next move is up to the competition to see how they respond and see how they can push Apple, and Apple can push them in return to bring new features to you and I both. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. So kind of a real quick overview of what was announced today. I can't wait to get my hands on the new software, and as soon as I do, I'll be sure and give you guys demonstrations of them. So be sure to stick around to the channel. And for exclusive content, be sure to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/John4Lakers. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.